April was a great month, spring is in full swing, and I had a great time enjoying an amazing board game, an amazing book, a really cool course, and finally one of the YouTube greats. So let's get into it. This is going to be episode 1 of my new monthly favourites video series, where I'm going to take you through some of the cool things that I've listened to or watched or enjoyed from that month. I'll make sure that links to everything are in the description below, so make sure you look down there, and I'll make sure that everything's timestamped so you can just skip between the video and find what you like. So without further ado, let's start with an amazing board game I've been playing this month called Catan. I've played this a lot with my family recently in lockdown, and also played it a lot with my friends beforehand, and it's an amazing game based on strategy and resource management and all this sort of stuff. It's basically like a mixture of Monopoly and Risk if you've played either. Previous to this, I'd probably only really played Monopoly that much, and I'd always been a bit sort of scared of games like Risk and that sort of thing because they're a bit daunting, they look quite complicated, maybe a bit boring and old-fashioned, but I did play Risk and it was amazing. And then having played Catan, I've realised that there's just so many amazing board games out there, and Catan is definitely the best one I've played. And I guess using Monopoly to compare it to, because Monopoly is played by so many people, so it's a nice comparison point. The thing that's good about Catan that isn't so good in Monopoly is that in Monopoly, you're always playing a game with somebody that's getting steamrolled throughout the game. There's always somebody that's the sort of whipping boy that has all the money taken off them. Whereas in Catan, there's always a chance that you're going to stay in the game, and in every round or every set of turns, everybody's going to be picking up resources and still being able to play on the board. So it's a really fun game for that reason. But it's a great game in itself because it's really difficult in a good way, in that every game is different, you constantly have to think on your feet. The long and short of it is that you're a settler on the Isle of Catan, and you need to build up different settlements and cities by producing different resources from the board, which is all to do with where you're placing your settlements and where you're placing your mini buildings on the actual island. And you have to trade with people, and you have to think where they're going to go and where you're going to go, and it's just a great game to while away the hours in lockdown. And like I said, it's better than Monopoly because you're not getting steamrolled the whole time. Great game for 4 players, and you can also get an expansion pack for 5 to 6 players, which incredibly is the same cost as the actual original game itself. And the 5 to 6 player expansion you can't play on its own, it's literally just like extra pieces. So yeah, worth a little bit, but it's definitely worth buying because it's an amazing game. Then Numero Dos is this incredible book, Educated by Tara Westover, which is a memoir written by Tara about her, I'd say, journey through life, where she was born into a survivor's family in Idaho. They lived off the grid almost completely, and they were all homeschooled. Their mum was a sort of healer using herbs and all this sort of stuff. They didn't use the local healthcare system. And through her childhood, she always had this desire to move out and experience the world and move away from the family that's controlled by a dad who doesn't trust the government and doesn't trust the neighbours and thinks that people are spying on them and is preparing for the end of days. She endures some really extreme hardship throughout her life in quite graphic detail in the book, and yet still throughout her journey across the world pretty much is still pulled back to these moments, even at a point where she's at Cambridge University and she gets an email out of the blue from one of her relatives pulling her right back in. She can never really escape. And it's amazing because despite all of this hardship that she's been through and the life that she's sort of left, it never really does leave her, and she always looks back fondly, and she knows that that's definitely a part of herself. And it's this amazing juxtaposition throughout of her new life as an incredibly intelligent literary genius almost studying at Cambridge University versus her old life working on a scrapyard for her dad, living entirely off the grid and not trusting the locals and the government and all sorts. So it's an amazing book, and I actually saw this for the first time on Barack Obama's summer reading list, which I'll link up here. Definitely worth a look. I think that when one of the most famous and powerful men in the world write a reading list, you should probably pay attention. So this was on there. I actually got this for a birthday present. Somebody saw it on my Goodreads and bought it for me, which was a great gift. So yeah, Educated by Tara Westover, great book. And really good on Kindle. You don't need to buy the book version because it'll look good on Kindle. Speaking of Kindles, click this video here to see exactly why I think you should buy a Kindle Paperwhite. They're amazing, and this video will give you every reason why. So I'll see you there. Otherwise, let's carry on with number 3, which is a video editing course that I've been watching on Skillshare by Ali Abdal. It's called Beginner to YouTuber, so quite a cool name, and it's literally designed to show you from start to finish the video production process for Final Cut Pro. And it takes you through the process of cutting down your A-roll, adding in some B-roll, making it look nice by adding transitions and different elements on the screen, color grading, looking at the audio. There's loads of different elements that it takes you through, and it sort of simplifies the process, because the bottom line is Final Cut Pro, and I'm sure it's the same with other editing apps, are pretty intimidating when you first open them. So this does break down the process, makes it a little bit less scary. And it's a great course. I was really impressed actually, and it's definitely helped my planning process when I'm looking at how to make a video or what I'm gonna do. And it makes me think a bit more carefully about the A-roll that I'm filming and different elements of B-roll. So would definitely recommend it. And of course, hopefully some of the different elements have started to show in my video, so feel free to let me know down below if you've noticed an improvement, which I would really appreciate. And then last but not least is this man, Matt D'Avella. An absolute amazing YouTube god. The guy is an absolute pro, and definitely somebody that I look up to when I'm making my videos, and somebody that I look up to in terms of values, because he has a lot of values that I share. His videos are always on point. The guy has put in the reps over a long period of time. He's always thinking about how to do better, and that's massively inspirational. And it's safe to say that he's definitely reaping the benefits now, so fair play to him. I guess there's two main reasons why I love Matt D'Avella and Matt D'Avella's channel. The first reason is quite simple, basically that his videos are so crisp, they're so well lit, the way that he frames things and the planning that he puts in place to go from B-roll to A-roll and then a little bit of a skit and all sorts, it's really cool. The way he plans out his videos is amazing, and he's an absolute pro. So a lot to learn based off his videos, and they're a really useful source of education, I guess, in order to try and get better at filming. And secondly, I think that he just stands for some really important things in life: consistency, patience, minimalism, things that I really care about, and three things that I'm not good at, but I want to be good at, and things that I truly aspire to embody in my own life. And they form the backbone of most of his videos. A great example of the sort of consistency and patience, also with a little bit of a minimal vibe, is his 3-year rule video. Simple as that, 3 years. But more interestingly, it's not actually about the 3 years, it's more about a mindset shift. It's about thinking long-term enough so that you do something without looking for an immediate result. That in turn means that you're looking for slower growth, and over time you won't be chasing quick or easy wins. You'll develop as a person, and the habits will form instead of you sort of looking for an endpoint. So probably butchered explaining that video, but it really stood out to me, and it's one of a million that Matt's done. So his channel is amazing, as I said, great inspiration. I'm trying to live a more considered life and try and get more out of life, and that's basically the whole point of this channel. And so yeah, his videos are a great place to learn. So there we have it. We've been through Settlers of Catan, an amazing board game. We've been through Educated by Tara Westover, an even more amazing book. We've been through a video editing course by Ali Abdaal called Beginner to YouTuber, all about how to edit on Final Cut Pro. And finally, we've gone through Matt D'Avella, some very brief reasons about why I love his channel, something that I'll probably expand on in the future. Next, click here to watch my video on how to make working from home work really well and be really enjoyable and really productive, and I'll see you there. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe and give me a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.